Welcome to Joanna's Library. Enjoy the story. Sir Cumference and the Great Knight of Angleland. 圆周爵士与角度国的伟大骑士 A Math Adventure. 数学大冒险 Written by Cindy Neuschwander. Illustrated by Wayne Geehan. 翻译水果糖老师。More than anything, Radius wanted to be a knight. 与任何事情相比，半径最想做的事情就是成为一名骑士。Every day he practiced riding, sword fighting, and archery. 他每天都练习骑马、击剑以及射箭。His teacher was the brave old Sir Degrees. 他的老师是勇武过人的角度老爵士。One day, Radius' parents, Sir Cumference and Lady Di of Armiter, came to watch his lessons. 有一天，半径的父母圆周爵士和直径夫人来看他上课。Show us what you have learned, they said. 他们对半径说，让我们看看你都学了哪些本领。In the riding ring, Radius mounted his horse and Sir Degrees gave directions. 在圆形骑马场上，半径骑上了马，角度爵士发出指令。Knightly right angle trot, shouted Sir Degrees. 角度爵士大声喊道，骑士的直角小跑。Radius made his horse at a trot to the center of the ring. 半径骑着他的马一路小跑，跑到了圆的中心 and made an exact right angle turn. 然后精确地转了一个直角的弯。It formed a perfect corner. 形成了一个完美的直角。Now, double the right angle to make a straight angle, got out Sir Degrees. 角度爵士又叫道，现在把直角乘以2，使它成为一个平角。Radius rode at a full gallop straight across the ring. 半径全速飞奔，笔直地横穿了跑马场。He came to an abrupt stop right in front of his parents. 半径策马飞奔到他父母面前时，即刻停住了马。Wonderful, they exclaimed. You have learned so much. 圆周爵士他们大叫道，太棒了，你学到的东西真多。At supper, Sir Degrees said, Radius is the best squire I have ever taught. He is ready to go on a quest. 晚餐时，角度爵士说，半径是我教过的最好的护从，他已经可以去探险了。He is not old enough, said Sir Cumference, looking worried. 圆周爵士面露担忧的神色说，他的年纪还不够大。Lady Di smiled. You were the same age, dear, when you went on your first quest. 直径夫人微笑着说，亲爱的，你第一次去探险的时候和半径差不多大。Radius sat up straighter. I'm ready, father, he said. Please let me go. 半径把身子坐得更挺了一些，说，父亲大人，我已经准备好了，请让我去吧。The Cumference slowly looked at each of them. Finally, he smiled and nodded. 圆周爵士缓缓地环视了一下他们每个人，他最终微笑着点了点头。Hooray! Shouted Radius. I'll make you proud. 半径欢呼起来，耶！我会让你为我感到自豪的。But shall I find someone in need of help? 但是我是不是该先找一个真正需要帮助的人呢？ Our neighbor, King Aloud, has disappeared, Sir Degrees answered. 角度爵士回答说，我们邻邦的国君莱尔国王失踪了。Many have set out to find him, but none has ever returned. 许多人都出发去找他，可是他们一个也没能回来。I'll search until I succeed, promised Radius. 半径保证说，直到我成功完成使命，否则我绝不会放弃搜索莱尔国王。The next morning, Radius made ready to go. 次日一早，半径就整装待发了。Remember your knightly right angle, Radius, counseled Sir Degrees. It will serve you well. 角度爵士临别前给了半径一些忠告。他说，半径要牢记你骑士的直角，它将会助你一臂之力。Sir Cumference and Lady Di gave Radius an old family heirloom, a medallion in the shape of a perfect circle. 圆周爵士和直径夫人给了半径一个古老的传家宝，一个大勋章，它的形状是一个完美的圆形。What are these numbers around the edge of the medallion? Radius asked. 半径问，勋章边上的这些数字是做什么用的呢？ No one knows, Lady Di answered. But may it bring you courage on your journey. 直径夫人回答说，谁也不知道，但希望它能在旅途中给你带来勇气。Radius bid them farewell and set off. 半径与他们告别后，就出发上路了。I'm on a quest, he exclaimed gleefully. 他兴高采烈地大声叫道，我开始探险了。Radius rode for many days through the countryside. 半径在乡间骑了好多天的马。One day, he came upon a tiny village where all the cottages had rooftops pointed in steep angles. 一天，他来到了一个小村庄，那个村庄的茅屋屋顶都是窄窄的尖角。What a quaint little town, thought Radius. Mother would call it cute. 半径想，好一个古色古香的小镇，母亲会称其为小巧玲珑。He asked the villager about the King Lear. 然后他向一个村民打听了一下莱尔国王。His castle lies beyond the mountains of Obtuse, said the villager pointing to the east. 那个村民指着东面说，他的城堡在钝角山的山顶。But take heed, there are tales of strange creatures and dangerous labyrinths. 不过你得留神，传说那里有怪物和危险的迷宫。No one traveling there has ever returned. 去那里的人没有一个能回来的。I hope to be the first, said Radius. Farewell and thank you. 半径说，我希望能成为第一个能回来的人。谢谢你，再见。Up and down through the mountains of Obtuse, Radius rode eastward. 半径穿过了钝角山，骑着马翻山越岭，一路向东而行。Finally, Radius came upon a walled castle surrounded by a watery moat. 最终，半径来到了一座四周都有护城河围绕的坚固城堡面前。He rode cautiously onto the drawbridge. 他小心翼翼地骑着马来到了吊桥上。It creaked and groaned with every step. 他每向前进一步，这桥都吱嘎作响。As he neared the middle, the drawbridge began to crumble. 当他快要到桥中央的时候，这吊桥开始崩塌。Quickly, Radius urged his horse across. 半径迅速催促他的马穿过去。Just as they reached the other side, the old bridge collapsed into the water with a tremendous splash. 就在他们刚到对岸的瞬间，这座老吊桥整个倒塌到水里去了，溅起了巨大的水花。That was close, Radius exclaimed. 半径大叫一声，好险啊！ He rode through the high gates of the castle. 接着，他骑马进入了城堡那些高高的大门。In the courtyard, Radius saw a parchment hanging on a door. 在城堡的庭院里，半径看见一扇门上挂着一张羊皮纸。He took the parchment and read the faded writing. 他取下那张羊皮纸，看到上面有些褪色的字迹，写着 Warning strangers, friend or foe, dangerous wait as forth you go. 告诫所有的生人、友人或是敌人，你若前行，必有险情。You must make a nightly ride, finding the next big straight and slight. 你必须走一个骑士直角，接下来把大的、平的和小的来寻找。One wrong turn means lost to all, in a rising screaming fall. 一个弯转错，可就全完了，翻滚尖叫着往下倒。Finding the right to reach the king, or you will feel the dragon's sting. 找对直角，国王就在此，如若不然，就让你尝尝龙的刺。The brothers zig and zag. 锯齿兄弟书。What can this mean? thought Radius. 半径想，这是什么意思呢？ Clutching his medallion for courage, he rode through the doorway into a circular chamber. 他握紧了勋章来寻求勇气，骑着马穿过门廊，进入了一个圆形的房间。In the middle of the stone floor, Radius could see a carved circle with a line across its center. 在石头地面的中央，半径看到了一个刻出来的圆形，并且有一条线穿过了这个圆的中心。All around him, arches led to different rooms. 在他周围，一扇扇拱门通往不同的房间。Which way should I go? He wondered aloud. 半径不禁问道：我该走哪条路呢？ He read through the parchment. You must make the knightly right. 他读着那张羊皮纸上写着的字说：你必须走一个骑士的直角。Sir Degrees and I practiced many right angle turns. 他对自己说，角度爵士和我练习过许多遍直角拐弯了。Just then, something flapped out of the shadow and bumped his arm. 正在这时，有什么东西从阴暗处飞身掠过，还撞上了他的手臂。Oof, grunted Radius as his medallion went flying. 哎呦，半径咕哝了一声，而这时他的勋章却飞了出去。The medallion rolled away and came to a stop on the carved stone circle. 那枚勋章在地上向前滚动，最后停在了那个石头雕刻的圆圈里。Radius noticed that number 90 pointed directly toward one of the arches. 半径意识到那枚勋章上的数字90正好指向了那些拱门中的一扇。Starting at 0 on my medallion, if I go to the center and then to the number 90, that forms a right angle. 半径叫了起来，从我勋章上的数字0开始，如果我走到圆心，然后朝着数字90走，就会走出一个直角。That's the knightly right. 这正是骑士直角。Radius swung himself back onto his horse and rode through the arch that was a knightly right, or 90 on the medallion. 半径纵身上马，跑进了那个骑士直角所正对的拱门，或者说是勋章上90对着的那扇拱门。The way was dark and damp. 那条路又黑又湿。Around him, unseen things scuttled in the corners. 在他周围有看不见的东西在角落里乱窜。By the light of a flickering candle, Radius read the parchment again. 借着闪烁的烛光，半径又看了看羊皮纸上的字。Finding next big, straight and slight. 接下来把大的、平的和小的来寻找。What is big? He wondered. 他疑惑道，什么是大的呢？ Could it be something even larger than the knightly right angle? He thought for a moment. 他疑惑道，会有什么东西比骑士直角更大吗？ He thought for a moment. The mountains of obtuse were shaped like big angles, he remembered. 他思考了片刻，就想了起来，钝角山的形状就像是大的角。As Radius looked around for a way out, spider webs caught in his hair, and the tickling legs brushed against his face. 半径四处寻找着出路，他的头发沾上了蜘蛛网，而蜘蛛的腿在他脸上划过，弄得他痒痒的。Ahead, Radius saw several hallways. 朝着前面的方向，半径看到了好几条通道。Each had a circle carved in front of it. 每条通道前面都雕刻了一个圆形。If I hold the medallion over a circle, then the number measures the angle to the hallway, he said. 半径说，要是我把勋章放在圆形的上方，那么勋章上面的数字就能测出这条通道的角度了。The angle of the first hallway measured only 55 on the medallion. 从勋章上测量出第一条通道的角度只有55。As Radius measured the angle of each hallway, he found only one that was bigger than the right angle. 半径测量了每一条通道的角度，他发现只有一条通道的角度比骑士直角要大。One angle measured 120 on the medallion. 那个角在勋章上显示的数字是120。 Radius entered that hallway, but it ended at a curving stairway. 半径进入了那条通道，然而通道的尽头却是一段旋转楼梯。Radius dismounted and told his horse to wait. 半径下了马，让他的马等在那里。Stairs are no place for you, he said. Stay right here. I'll come back as soon as I can. 他对他的马说，楼梯可不是你能去的地方，乖乖地待在这儿，我尽快回来。The stairway down was narrow and steep. 那段向下的楼梯又窄又陡。I must be under the castle by now, Radius thought. 半径想，我一定是到了城堡的地底下了。He noticed that the further down he went, the hotter it was. 他感觉到越是往下走，周围就越是热。The stairs came to an end at a fiery pit where huge flames leaped up like angry snapping jaws. 楼梯的尽头是一个火坑，熊熊的火焰向上蹿升，就像是愤怒猛兽的血盆大口。Two bridges spanned the infernos. 两座桥横在这片火海中间。They both started from the same spot, but they crossed the fire pit at different angles. 它们的一头是在同一个地方，然而这两座桥却是以不同的角度架设在这个火坑之上的。After big, the parchment reads straight, Radius remembered. 半径想起羊皮纸上大的后面写的是平的。That's 180 on my medallion. You can't get an angle straighter than that. 那是勋章上标的180，再也找不出比那个角更平的角了。He took a deep breath and ran across the bridge that went straight over the roaring fire. 他深吸一口气，冲过了平直的架在熊熊烈火之上的那座桥。On the other side, Radius heaved a sigh of relief. 到了桥的另一头，半径这才松了一口气。He opened a heavy door and entered a dark tunnel. 他打开了一扇沉重的大门，进入一个幽暗的隧道。The door clanged shut behind him. 那扇门哐的一声在他身后关上了。Raspy snuffling came from deep in the darkness. 刺耳的鼻息声从幽暗处传来。Four glowing eyes appeared and began moving slowly toward him. 同时闪现出4只发光的眼睛，慢慢朝着他靠了过来。Clutching his medallion, Radius hurtled down the tunnel. 半径紧握着他的勋章，沿着隧道往下飞奔。As he passed the eyes, he brushed against the scales that fell like a cold chain mail. 当他跑过那些眼睛时，他碰到一些鳞片，那些鳞片摸上去像是冰冷的锁子甲。Radius ran blindly on, stumbling as the floor started to slope upward. 半径继续摸着黑跑，随着地面开始往上倾斜，他只能跌跌撞撞地往前跑。Behind him, heavy thumps echoed in the darkness. 在他身后，沉重的砰砰声在黑暗中回荡。The tunnel ended. 这条隧道到了尽头。Other tunnels shoot off at different angles. 其他隧道顺着不同的角度延伸。In front of each was a carved circle glowing with its own light. 每条隧道的前面都有一个刻好的圆形，闪着它自己的光。The parchment says a slight angle, Radius mumbled, like the rooftops in that cute village I passed through. 半径咕哝了一句，羊皮纸上说要小角度，就像是沿途那个可爱的小村庄里房子的屋顶。A cute little angle is what I need, something less than 90 on the medallion. 我需要的是一个可爱的小角度，小于勋章上的数字90。The smallest angle measured 40, so he turned there. 那些隧道里最小的角量下来是40，因此半径就在那条隧道拐了弯。The thumps grew louder. Something snuffled and sniffed as if hunting for him. 那些砰砰声变得越来越响， 有什么东西这里闻闻，那里嗅嗅的，好像在追赶他。Radius ran through the darkness. 半径跑过了黑暗地带。Next will be the right to reach the king. Another nightly right angle of 90. 他气喘吁吁地说，接下来是找对直角，国王就在此。又是一个数值为90的骑士直角。At least the last angle will be easy, he gasped. 半径喘着粗气说，至少最后一个角度会很简单。He was wrong. 然而他想错了。In the dim light, he came across 4 corridors, which all seemed to be right angles. 在昏暗的光线里，他看到了4条通道，这4条通道看起来都像是直角。Fingers fumbling, he measured quickly with the medallion, 90, 90, 90, and 90 again. 用手指摸了摸，他用勋章快速地量了一下，90, 90, 90, 还是90。Slow down, Radius told himself, and measure once more. 半径告诉自己，慢慢来，再量一次。He carefully lined up the medallion and read the numbers. 他仔仔细细地把勋章与那些角对齐，然后读取上面的数字。The first angle was 93. 第一个角是93。Too big, he said. 太大了，他说。The next angle was 85. 下一个角是85。Too small, he muttered. 这又太小了。The third one was 89. Almost right, he said. 第三个角是89，只差一丁点儿就是直角了。Then there was a great whooshing sound, and thick smoke filled the tunnel. 然后嗖的一声巨响，浓烟布满了这条隧道。Radius was caught in a dark cloud. 半径被一阵浓烟罩住了。Coughing and sputtering, he felt his way along to the remaining corridor. 他被呛得直咳嗽，用手一路摸着进了最后剩下的那条通道。I hope this is the one, he whispered. 他小声说，希望这条是对的。Thump, thump, thump. Something was lurching toward him. He stumbled. 砰砰砰，有什么东西正蹒跚着向他走来。半径绊了一下。Suddenly, Radius ran into a wall of stone. He was trapped. 突然，半径被一堵石墙拦住了去路，他被困住了。The thumping grew louder. Whatever it was big, and it was right behind him. 那砰砰声变得越来越响。不管那东西是什么，它都很大，而且它就在自己身后。Radius turned around and stood with his back to the wall. 半径转过身，背对着那堵墙。His arm bumped into a latch, a handle. 他的手臂撞到了一个门栓，是一个门把手。He pushed with all his strength, and a door swung open. 半径用尽全力去推。门被推开了。Brilliant sunshine met his eyes. 灿烂的阳光照在他的双眼上。Welcome, a voice bellowed. Who might you be? 有个声音大叫道，欢迎，可是你是谁呀？ Radius squinted into the brightness. 半径眯起眼睛向光亮处看去。I'm Radius, son of Sir Cumference and Lady Di of Armiter, the squire to Sir Degrees. I'm searching for King Leo.他说，我是半径，是圆周爵士和直径夫人的儿子，是角度爵士的护从，我正在寻找莱尔国王。It seems you have found him, chuckled the king. But how did you do it? 国王咯咯咯地笑着说，看来你已经找到他了，但是你是如何做到的呢？ Radius bowed. He explained, My medallion helped me figure out which path to take.半径鞠了一躬，解释说，我的勋章帮我算出我应该走哪些路。Knowledge gave me the courage to keep going. 而知识给了我继续前行的勇气。But there were frightful things in there. 但是城堡里面有很可怕的东西。A whimpering came from behind the door. 一阵呜咽声从门背后传出。King Lear opened it wider.莱尔国王把门开得更大了些。Radius jumped back. Dragons, he gulped. A pair of them. 半径向后纵身一跃，他倒吸了一口凉气。是龙，而且有一对龙。They're my loyal pets, the Aloud dragons, explained the king. 国王解释说，他们是我忠实的宠物，莱尔龙。He scratched their heads. The poor beasts and I were trapped in the maze by my evil cousins Zig and Zag. 他抓了抓他们的头，这两个可怜的家伙和我一起被我那两个邪恶的表兄弟锯齿兄弟困在了这个迷宫里。But we are free now that you have found a way through the labyrinth. 然而我们现在自由了，因为你已经找到了走出迷宫的路。My squire, he continued, anyone brave enough and smart enough to figure out that maze deserves his knighthood. 国王继续说，年轻的护从，任何勇敢又聪明到能解开迷宫难题的人都应该获得骑士的资格。With Radius' medallion, they easily found their way back through the maze. 凭借着半径的勋章，他们俩轻松地找到了走出迷宫的路。To celebrate King Lear's freedom, invitations were sent to all neighboring knights and ladies. 为了庆祝莱尔国王重获自由，莱尔国王向邻近所有的骑士与夫人小姐们都发出了邀请。Sir Cumference, Lady Di of Armiter, and even old Sir Degrees came. 圆州爵士、直进夫人，甚至是角度老爵士，全都前来赴会。Radius and King Lear went to the moat to greet each group of the guests. 半径和莱尔国王来到护城河边，以迎接每一批客人。When the King Lear whistled and called out, "Pair of Lears!" The two dragons stretched across the moat side by side. 莱尔国王吹了声口哨，叫了一声“莱尔龙平行”，那两条龙就在护城河的上方伸直身体，并排站好。They became a living drawbridge for the guests to cross. 他们变成了宾客过河的活吊桥了。Everyone asked Radius how he found his way through the maze. 每个人都问半径他是如何找出走通迷宫的路的。I discovered the secret of the medallion, Radius said. 半径说，我发现了勋章的秘密。The numbers divide a circle into 360 parts. 那些数字把一个圆形分成了360份。I can use those parts to measure any angle. 我能用那些分好的部分来测量任何角。I call the parts of a circle degrees in honor of my teacher, Sir Degrees. 我把一个圆形分好的那些部分称为角度，以此来向我的老师角度爵士致敬。Radius drew a picture of his medallion and took an arrow from his quiver. 半径给他的勋章画了幅画，然后从他的箭囊里抽出了一支箭。Let's say this arrow points to a hallway. 假设这支箭指向一条走廊。The number shows how many degrees are in the angle. 这些数字就能显示出这个角有几度。A right angle measures 90 degrees. 直角量下来有90度。A straight line measures 180 degrees. 一条直线量下来是180度。I call angles bigger than 90 degrees obtuse after the mountains of obtuse. 我用钝角山的名字来命名大于90度的角，把它们称为钝角。Angles smaller than 90 I call acute. 小于90度的角称为锐角。They look like the roofs in a small village I traveled through. 因为它们看起来像是我经过的一个小村庄的房屋的屋顶。King Lear told Radius to kneel. 莱尔国王让半径下跪受封。For your bravery and intelligence, I knight you, Sir Radius, the king proclaimed. 国王宣布，由于你的勇敢与机智，我加封你为半径爵士。From this day forth, let this kingdom be called Angleland. 从今日起，这个国家称为角度国。Banners will fly on every castle tower. 每个城堡的屋顶上都会飘扬起旗帜。They shall show nightly right angles of 90 degrees, small acute angles, large obtuse angles, and straight angles of 180 degrees。这些旗帜会向人们显示90度的骑士直角、小角度的锐角、大角度的钝角，以及180度的平角。Rise now, Great Knight of Angleland！ 现在请起，角度国的伟大骑士。The crowd cheered, and Radius rose to greet them。 人群开始欢呼，半径站起身来向他们致意。Angleland was the only kingdom to have a castle with a living drawbridge。 角度国是唯一一个拥有活吊桥的国家。The cry, "Hair of Lairs!" brought the two dragons over the moat。 莱尔龙平行，这呼唤声能使那2条龙站立在护城河上。They became so famous that today parallel means any straight lines side by side, the same distance apart, like the Aloud dragons。 这2条龙是如此出名，以至于到了今天，平行线就意味着像莱尔龙那样的任何并列的直线，而这些线之间的距离相等。Angleland is still there on very old maps, but today we call it England。在非常古老的地图上，人们依然能够找到角度国这个名字，但是今天我们却把它称为英格兰。Thanks for listening. See you next time.